This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello and welcome to this program of VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, program number 140. Today's program is just a mixture of miscellaneous talk, followed by some letter reading. I hope you enjoy the program. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are. I think the background noise is a little bit more prevalent, in person with my own ears than what the microphone can pick up. Plus the microphone is right near my mouth, so I don't think it's that much of an issue, but I apologize. Speaking of the microphone, as a matter of fact, I was a little bit unsure, when I got this microphone, and for those of you who don't know, this is a fairly newly acquired microphone for the VORW program. I got it a couple months ago after the old one failed on me. And some people were a little unsure about it. They said, there's a lot of kind of crackling and clanking, and, it could get annoying. Some people liked it. Some people said it's kind of like AM radio. They liked the sound. But some people weren't a fan of it. And I've been getting a feel for the microphone, and I think I still need to master it. I can't say I got, my black belt in microphone handling yet. Just yet. But, I realize this microphone is best. See, what I used to do, I used to hold this little Sansa thing, used to hold it by the sides, like this, and then I would put it right in front of my mouth like this. And I don't know, maybe there's no difference at all, but I think there is a bit of a difference. Now what I do is I change my handling, put my fingers on the ends like this, and I keep my microphone more to the side. And I think that now results in cleaner audio, because my fingers just aren't covering like the mic, they're not smothering it, they're not moving against one of the parts of the microphone that makes that noise. And also now the audio, while still there, doesn't spike as loud, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. This is going to be a more quiet VORW. Maybe not literally in terms of noise, but figuratively in terms of what I'm going to be talking about. That is because I don't have an awful lot to talk about. Well, I really don't. I mean, I can talk about the channel, your latest updates with the VORW radio program. That's about it. One thing that I feel I need to mention again, and that's fine, to do it again, is that the VORW show, now the radio program, of course, is heard every Thursday throughout the day. Weekly. It's on a schedule, it's a radio show. You need to schedule that. I need to schedule the program with the station owners, send it to the board operators at a certain time, and it's expected to be aired at that time. The online VORWs, since really I'm the manager of it, I coordinate it out whenever it works out best. And these online VORWs they really come about maybe once every, usually a week, but sometimes every 2 weeks, and please keep that in mind. It's a little bit more flexible, so that needs to be, kept in mind, and I hope you can understand that. I hope you can understand that maybe if the online show doesn't come out every single week, it's okay, and I hope you can respect that. So anyway, what do I have to talk about, really? Well, I can talk about a couple things. I already said that once. It doesn't need to be said again. I guess I already said it for the second time now. I guess I can tell some old used-up war story from the early days of the channel, you know. People used to complain about that, but then I realized I don't really talk about this stuff that often, and there's new people continually tuning in, so, you know, it's not really too washed up as I think it is, because to some, you know, it's the first time hearing it. And sometimes it's interesting, you know, just to talk about the channel. I mean, it's how much more on topic can it be? You know, VORW was originally a program about the channel, and I'm talking about the channel on it, so there's nothing wrong with that. I figure it's worth talking about, just because it's something that, you know, I remember. And it's an ever-changing story, too, because as time distances myself from this event, number one, the most prominent memories still remain. Some of the more details, they might fade, but my perspective on it and how it influenced and changed me and affected me adapts, changes as well, and so does the story. So it's also retold differently each time, and hopefully it makes for some interesting listening, and it gives me something to talk about to fill the program a little bit. It's the truth. Because I don't want to talk about shortwave for 3 hours, I just want to talk about shortwave for 1 hour, and talk about other stuff for the rest of the program. So, let's do that. What I'm going to be talking about, since it's early February now, so this event already passed by. The anniversary of it passed by a couple weeks ago, but it's close enough, right? It's close enough. What I'm going to talk about, and I'm sure many of you know this, but just to be safe, I'm going to recount the story, so get the popcorn ready, folks. Get the popcorn. Get ready, it's an exciting story from the good old lecturer. So it's one you don't want to miss. I say that sarcastically. I don't care. I'll talk about really how this channel came to be in its present state and what happened in 2013. Now, obviously, this channel, well, it wasn't created, and out of the blue it got, 100 and something thousand subscribers and an audience. It didn't happen like that. It's not like a mushroom where, you fall asleep and you wake up and, oh my god, all these mushrooms are around. What happened? It's not like that. It's not that sudden. It doesn't happen overnight. Or does it? That's a complicated answer. Because what changed this channel irreversibly did happen overnight. But it's not something that you can work to. When I started this channel in 2011, my god, 6 years ago now, I expected it to be a simple hobby and pastime and nothing more. Obviously, there was a small, loyal audience. I'm saying, maybe a dozen regulars and a couple dozen additional people, so maybe around 100, not even 100 in total, that would watch the channel from time to time. Some of which knew me personally. Others were individuals who would found the channel from other ways. As a matter of fact, that original audience is, it's almost entirely gone. Isn't that kind of sad? All those people that were with the channel and supported the Report of the Week and the videos up until 2013, so for the first 2 years, they're almost all gone. As a matter of fact, there's only, at this point in time, only one person left from that original audience, and he listens to the VORW shows, still writes in regularly. It's great to see, but I think he's, as far as I know, the last person around. There were a few other people who I've known from that original audience who checked in with the channels little as a year or so ago, but I haven't heard from them since. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's the last person from those early days that's still around, of course, besides me, that at least, watches the channel anymore. But anyway, in the first 2 years of the channel, it was small, it had a small, tight-knit audience and maybe a couple dozen views per video. But that all changed, more so than I ever would have imagined. That all changed in one night in 2013. Mid-January, I'd say, of 2013. Changed for good. What happened was one of my videos got posted to Reddit, and I'm sure we all know, what Reddit is. You can post a video, a file, a picture, put a tacky title there, and people can upvote it, they can downvote it, they can comment, and if it gets enough upvotes, it'll, be brought to the front page of the website, and more people will see it. It has the potential for getting a lot of attention, even going viral, in a sense. It's the birthplace of many memes, some political movements, social movements, and other things too. Now, I wasn't familiar with Reddit before January of 2013. I didn't care. I watched YouTube. That's all I needed, I had no idea what Reddit was. Reddit, I might have heard about that site once or twice. I had a small little channel. It was my hobby. I had other things going on at the time. That's it. And the channel was a small channel. I said it now many times. So whenever something would happen with the channel, say someone commented on a video, someone subscribed, someone sent me a private message, I would get an email notification from it. I'd get a little... Maybe some of you still get these. I can't anymore since I get too much stuff. It would just flood the inbox. I can't do that anymore. But I'd get an email notification. I get a, say so-and-so subscribed to you. And those are pretty few and far between. I'd get maybe one every day or 2 days, and that's it, really, So it was something worth checking, it was a infrequent event. Hey, yeah, you got one, let me check this out, it was something to do. If I got 3 of those notifications in one day, that was big. Oh, what happened here, what's going on? I remember the night before, it was quiet. I wasn't paying too much attention to anything. I went to sleep around 11 p.m. It was all was quiet. I woke up the next morning at 9 a.m. It was a Tuesday or so. I woke up around 9 a.m. And I kid you not, I had this weird feeling. It was a dream. You know, sometimes you wake up, you first wake up, and you know you had this type of dream, and you kind of get the overall vague image of it, of what it was kind of about, but you can't really cite anything specific from the dream. And I remember this too. It's so odd, such an odd little thing. I remember having this dream about all these emails. It was such a weird thing. I didn't really care, though. And I kind of forgot about it until later in the day after I realized. Then I remembered it again after thinking, but it was so weird. Well, anyway, I got up, I checked the computer, and I was shocked. I said before, I got all these little notification emails from YouTube whenever something of significance happened. I opened my inbox, and there's at least 500 of these notifications. That's more than I had ever seen in my life, let alone in one space. No, I was completely shocked. And I checked the comments. What the heck is going on? I probably thought something more pronounced than that, to say the least, but that's what I really thought, what's going on here? All these notifications, I was shocked. At the time I had maybe 200 subscribers, and here were 500 notifications? I check, and people are all commenting on this pan pizza review. The pan pizza review, about a month beforehand, I reviewed this pizza from Domino's. An average review. I noticed before it ever got posted anywhere, it had a couple more views than usual. It had maybe around 500 views. And that was a lot, for the channel being so small. So I noticed that. I noticed, I guess it was just a really new product, and people were searching for it. Maybe there weren't as many food reviewers at the time, and people were stumbling upon my video of the pan pizza review. Oh, anyway, flash forward to that morning. I check, it has around 12,000 views, and I'm shocked, as I said, I'm trying to comprehend what's going on. And everyone's talking about this Reddit site. I'm here from Reddit, Blah, 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 Fedora Reddit. Some guy commented or something about that. I guess the Fedora thing was just starting to become a meme then. Or maybe then they were making fun of the atheists. I don't know which one it was, but it was some sort of meme about Reddit someone posted. Someone else, dude, you're on, something, our vids. And I checked out this Reddit site, and I was confused. I didn't know how it worked. I was trying to navigate it. I was trying to figure it out. And then I see my video. There's my video. I tried to comprehend it all, and I monitored what was going on throughout the day, trying to grasp it, trying to get a better understanding of it. And sure enough, it kept going and going. The amount of views on that video by noon was now at 60,000, and the subscriber amount was now at 1,500. By 6 p.m., now it was getting near 100,000, and the subscribers were near 2,000. I kept saying to myself, what is going on here? And I was inept, but I wasn't too oblivious to the internet. And I correctly inferred at the time that someone posted. I gained the basic understanding of how the Reddit site worked. And I gained the basic understanding that someone had posted this food review to a subreddit, the videos subreddit, which if you browse the Reddit, you know, videos, it's a popular subreddit. A lot of people browse it, a lot of people check it out. And it gained some traction there. And the post was mostly about the fact that I wear the suit, you know. He wears the suit to review a pizza. I know, he wears this formal wear. I've never seen anything like that, you know. And out of that bewilderment, a lot of people checked the video from 2013. And, you know, at that time, they checked out this video, and that's how they discovered the channel. And it gained some traction there. By the evening, everyone's favorite site, Barstool Sports, posted a lovely piece about the video. Some other site, I think The Atlantic, posted something else, and College Humor posted something, and of course I got some more views, you know. Got some hits. Well, I learned a valuable lesson from what happened in 2013. And I think it was important, though. I think it was important because you kind of needed to get that slap in the face and know not to look at things like this again. And it was a very valuable lesson. I'm glad it happened, and you know, I was able to get good out of it. But what happened, really, and the lesson that I learned, was don't get cocky over this stuff. Just don't. Because that's the mistake that I made in 2013 when that happened. And how could I not? This was the first time that I ever got any sort of significant recognition from this channel. I didn't know how to handle it at the time. So, I stupidly, and not entirely, but I stupidly thought, you know, wow, you know, this channel is, you know, this is big, you know, wow, I'm the cat's meow, you know. Silly. I realize that now, but we make mistakes and you learn from them. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing at all. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I haven't mentioned this, but I think it's something that you can easily check out. If you kind of look at how I was in 2 different videos, I think this comes perfectly clear. That cockiness I was just talking about. You check out the video I made before the channel kind of mildly blew up at the time. The TGI Fridays Wings review. These were the early days of the Running on Empty series. And I did a review for some frozen wings from TGI Fridays. They were okay. It was an earlier review of mine. But you can check that out. It's from early January of 2013. Then check the review that I filmed after that. The Domino's Pizza review one where I'm wearing the bow tie. And maybe you can't see it, maybe you can. I don't know how strikingly obvious it is to the outside observer. But to me, I can really notice a significant difference in my persona. You know? I wouldn't use the word arrogant, but just a lot more cocky. You know? In those 2. Just a lot more cocky in the pizza one. The Domino's Pizza review, was the first video I filmed after the channel kind of got some attention. And of course that was intentional because everyone was talking about the Domino's pan pizza, so I reviewed something of similar nature. And what eventually happened was it all culminated. It all just culminated too much. More than what I could handle. I guess I just didn't really know how to handle it. At first it was that arrogant cockiness. But then it got too much, you know? Back then, all the troll comments, all the insults and everything just bothered me. And I think if I really understood at the time why all these people were sharing this video, why they were all posting it on Reddit, why they were all commenting and etc. on it, it would have bothered me much, much, much more back then than it would now. And I realize that most of these people, now it's different now, I'll get to that. I know this is kind of all over the place talk, but you know, it's hopefully you could follow it at least. I realize that most of these people shared that video of me in 2013 because of how ridiculous I looked, you know? That this little autismo is wearing this, you know, this giant, you know, David Byrne suit reviewing this pizza, and he's completely unaware of what a, you know, what a Riri he looks like. That's why, at the time, everyone was watching the pizza review. Not because they cared about what I had to say about the pizza. Not because of anything I said, or anything like that. But simply under that, really under that pretense. Now that changed over time. Eventually the people that stuck around after that, was able to keep producing videos and they got to know me better. A lot of the trolls left. Now the trolls, they are out in full force, but they come and go, and then new ones come, and they go, and then new ones come. But over time I was able to develop a long-term fan base that really watches the videos for the food, and also gets to kind of know me as the host as well. And things have changed, as I said, over time, but at the time, in early 2013, none of these people actually knew me. They hadn't watched any videos. They were mostly watching these food reviews for the LOLs, for the awkwardness, for the comedy gold material, or something, you know, to make fun of, or whatever. I didn't know that at the time, but I think that's for the best. I realize people still watch the videos for that too, but there's also now, I realize, there's a portion of people that watch them legitimately too, and unironically, and that's fine. Anyway, back to what I was telling, back to the story. It all culminated, and I kind of burnt a fuse. And all the direct trolling, all the stuff that was strikingly slap in the face obvious, nothing that would take too much inferring, just got to me, and I had to shut down the channel for a little bit. I needed a break. As I said, that cockiness, everything just got the best of me. I needed to take a break, and a break I took. I kind of short-circuited, and I made everything private, stalled the channel a bit, and took a month off. In the meantime, I got to understand the situation better. I posted around on some forums, got to know the community a little bit, they got to know me, and I restarted the channel in March of 2013. And from there, continued on. Then I had my 4chan problems, where again, I kind of faced those demons, and that hatred and that criticism, etc. But it did me good in the end. Made me realize a few things. And then from there, I continued on, got some experiences. Then last year, dealt with the stalking, learned a few things from that. And here we are now, 2017, still going. strong and onward with the channel. Anyway, this channel, I mean it when I say it. I know it's a food review channel. I know it's just some guy sitting there talking about some burger or some old hobby, you know, some radios. But I mean it when I say it, that for me, what happened in 2013 with this channel, getting that attention, was one of the biggest changes that ever happened in my life. Because before 2013, this channel was just a hobby. It's just a hobby, just something I did, to, you know, in my spare time for fun. After 2013, though it still remained a hobby for a while, it eventually transformed into my career, my job. This is what I do. I can't say I'll be doing this forever. You know, I might find myself 10 years from now, 20 years from now, doing something completely different, or hey, you never know, if YouTube keeps going and I'm in a stroke of good luck, who knows? You can't predict the future, I realize that too. But at the moment, this is, you know, what I do. Doesn't make a ton of money. I'm not rich, I'm poor, but I'm happy, and that's what matters. But I realized that with this channel getting it, just that post on Reddit, so significantly affected me. The experiences that I've learned from this channel, the things that I've seen from it, the people that I've met, it's changed my life so much. And if that person never posted that pizza review on Reddit, I would be 110% a different person. I would not be the same person that I am right now. I would be completely different. My life would be completely different, for better or for worse. That's irrelevant, because I'm happy where I am right now, and it's just incredible when I think of the significance of it. That one guy on Reddit, if he decided, you know what, I thought about posting this pizza review, I don't think the title's good enough, forget it, I'm gonna go back to just listening to some music, I'm done with Reddit for the night, and he never posted anything, I would be a completely different person. I think it's also an example of, you know how some people say, the smallest of decisions could have the greatest of impacts, so this is one of them. People post on Reddit all the time. Some of you submit things to Reddit all the time. There's really little thought put into it. It's just something you do for fun. That's what this guy was doing. And look at the impact that it had. It's crazy when you philosophize and think about that. Never posted that thing? Number one, I would not be saying this right now. I would not be the person that I am. I guarantee you probably would never have found this VORW. VORW wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be here right now in my place in life. I may not even know what shortwave radio is. I can't even, I don't even know where to begin. It would just be completely different. I would not be the person that I am. And I think that's just crazy to think about. Crazy to think about, in my opinion. That's really all that I have to talk about with that. One last thing. Some of you might have heard this one too, but at the time, in 2013, I got an offer that I really didn't know if I was going to take up on it or not. Back when Jay Leno did The Tonight Show, when the whole pizza review thing was really going in full force with the Reddit and everything, I got a legitimate email from the team at that Tonight Show, and they invited me on to be a featured guest, and I passed them up on it. That was just too much. I couldn't handle that. But I just also think that if I took that offer up, how different things would be. And then I also got some offer from TGI Fridays. I said, hey, we'll post one of your reviews. I'll never forget this when they said, we'll post one of your reviews on our Facebook page, which has a couple thousand followers. But we need to mail you a legal agreement and contract in the mail that you need to sign first, and then scan, fax, or mail back to us, and then we can post your video on our Facebook page. I thought that. Now I find that humorous, but at the time also I found it too inconvenient to go through with, so I didn't take that offer either. I think that's a bit silly, if I say so myself, but, that's where that stands. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Hope you enjoyed that little story. It was more like, it wasn't really a structured story or anything, it was just a train of thought, just free-form thought. But I hope you enjoyed it. It was just something, something to talk about. Hope you liked it, ladies and gentlemen. Program continues. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Alright, well, what else is good old Review Bra up to before I just delve into some letters and call this show a wrap? I don't remember if I talked about this or not. I got a chance a while ago, this is a while ago, to try one of the famous turkey legs at Disney. You can mock me all you want, but I didn't really know that was a big thing until just recently. I read about it, where I found out apparently at Disney people really like the turkey legs that they serve there. So I tried one, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. If you ever have the chance to go, you can get one. I think they just serve them at the Magic Kingdom now, at some booth. It's $11, but it's this gargantuan-sized turkey leg, and it's pretty good. It doesn't really taste like turkey, though. It tastes more like ham, like a big hock of, big ham hock, but it tastes good. It's salty but good, and it's an experience. It's something to try. There's that. I've said this before, but I'll say it again on the topic of Disney. Epcot, favorite park. Undoubtedly, Epcot's the one. And so many things about Epcot that I like. There's so many things. There's the big, the sphere that the ride Spaceship Earth. There, that one's a good one. The test track, of course, is good, though the part where you design a car is utter BS. It's just used for crowd control. I mean, you could just walk right through the room there and you're fine. People hate on this ride, but Universe of Energy is a good one. It is. People say they just use it to fall asleep, but I think it's a good one. People make fun of the film. They say it's outdated by 20 years, and it's old. It's from the 90s, but again, I like it. I like the suits that they're wearing in it. Hey, a lot of good rides there at Epcot. There's Soarin', of course. That's a good one. Of course, the and then just all the different little country pavilions you can visit. It's fun experience. So there's that. What else? What other miscellaneous topics are there to cover? I can talk about what I reviewed. I'll do that. I don't know how I found out about this because I was researching medical stuff. Sometimes I'll do that for fun. And I came upon that condition. It really made the headlines about 10 years ago. And it kind of made a couple headlines in the health sections of certain news organizations very recently, a couple weeks ago. They call it the tree man syndrome, I think. And if you're up for it, you can look at the pictures. It's more fascinating than disgusting or anything. But it's just a autoimmune disease, which causes problems of HPV, the human papillomavirus, and it causes these warts, these wart-like growths on your extremities and all over your body that just grow so much out of control, completely encases your hands, your feet, and then it keeps growing and growing, and it looks like these tree-like, branch-like structures almost. And I was reading about that, and then I read about the famous case from about 10 years ago, the guy Dede in Indonesia, and I watched the documentaries about him. There were two, and of course, you know, sensationalized, granted. I had to be. That's how, you know, that's how that whole industry is. It's the only way people are going to pay to watch it if they call him the tree man or something, which I find disrespectful. But sensationalized and failed operation, you know. Sad story. I don't know, it's just a sad story, but I watched that, and this guy, I mean, you know, Day was his name. He had this condition. He wasn't born with it, mind you. He wasn't born with all the growths. You know, he started getting them when he was like 13, 14. And it continued on and on, got worse and worse. And by the time he was 30, of course, you know, his wife left him. Only job he can get was working in a freak show, going around just to get a couple pennies, you know, for doing different shows with a couple other, you know, deformed individuals. And after some pictures of him, at the time, went viral on the internet, this documentary crew that was also working with this one doctor at this research institute in Maryland went over to Indonesia, and they filmed him, and they were working to try and identify what was wrong with him, and then to try and find a cure for him. Since it's such a exceptionally rare condition, you know, there's not hundreds of thousands of people out there like that. There's maybe a couple dozen. Very, very rare condition, that is. And they did research, they did some testing, and the doctor in the U.S. proposed a drug treatment, since it was physically removing the warts wasn't going to do anything. They'll just grow back. Since it's a problem with his immune system, they're going to try and give him, a drug regimen that would hopefully be able to try and balance some things out. He would have to take the drugs regularly, but it would hopefully balance things out, prevent new warts from spreading, and might allow the extreme growths to start falling off and diminishing over time. And they were about to start that when all of a sudden the Indonesian government comes in and whisks them off to a hospital for an emergency operation after the international press was alerted, and this Day was suddenly now gained notoriety. The Indonesian government, we can't have them going to the U.S. to get this operation done. We got to show the world that we got this, So they whisk him off to this hospital, do this grueling series of operations on him to remove these growths. And you can watch the documentary, you can see the pictures of them. I mean, You can't even tell those are his hands, and they cut all that stuff off. They cut all the growths off, ripped all the the skin off his hands, the nerve endings, you name it. Grafted some large portions of skin off his back, and reattached them to his hands, and then tried to use an acidic mixture to get the rest of the warts off. And I feel so bad for him. He had so much hope. After it all was done, they raised money for him. They bought him a little field. They wanted to just go back to work and be a farmer again. And all the growths, all the warts and everything, they just grew back. It was all for nothing. And even the Indonesian government just gave up on him and kind of said he's a basket case, forget about him. And he died last year from complications. He was just depressed, just chain smoked all day, every day, and died last year. You can read more about him. You can Day, it's D-E-D-E, the Tree Man. It's an interesting medical documentary, and it's a sad story. It's a sad story. But I was watching that the other day. It was morbidly fascinating. And it's sad story. Otherwise, in terms of other miscellaneous news, any miscellaneous shortwave news? No. So how about we just talk about the latest videos that were filmed? I think that sounds like a plan. So let's do that. Let's open up the computer here. Let's go over to the channel, to Video Manager. And here we go. So on the 25th, show number 139 aired. Now we're at number 140. On the 26th, the McDonald's McChicken Biscuit was reviewed. It's McChicken patty on a biscuit. And I was breaking out the sweater. It's a sweater, actually. Now, people said it was a sweater vest, but it was a sweater. It was a sweater. It looked a bit confusing, like, looks can be deceiving. But it was indeed a sweater. Interesting pattern. The 27th, I reviewed the Taco Bell Naked Chicken Chalupa. And in the review, I intentionally called it a chaluper, just because I know countless people in the comments would call me out on pronouncing it wrong. So that's why I always do that, because I know people are still going to call me out no matter what. So I just do it to give them something to talk about. So the chaluper, the Naked Chicken Chalupa, it was standard, a little more standard on the getting to the mediocre side. It's a meme item, get it once, try it, and don't bother again. Wore a wing collar for the release. That wing collar shirt actually has been newly fixed. The button, the most important button on the shirt, where the collar is, was gone. Didn't exist. It wasn't a detachable collar shirt. The button just fell off and has been lost. So I used the spare button that's at the very bottom and got it back on. So that shirt is now in commission. That's good. On the 30th, the KFC, a Georgia Gold chicken, was reviewed. Overcoat and a new tie. And Georgia Gold chicken. Georgia Gold chicken. From KFC. That stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken, if you didn't know. On February 2nd, had to listen to VORW on shortwave, and I'm going to reiterate that point quickly later in the program. And later that day, I reviewed Papa John's Ultimate Meats Pizza, which has all the meats. So I did that. And then I'm probably going to get this show up. And after that, probably just going to get another review done for something. It'll either be for Wendy's, Dairy Queen, or Long John Silver's. Long John Silver's. Some fish that they have there. We'll see which one. I figure I'll get to all three in due time. Get to all of them. But I don't know which one's going to be first, you know. I don't know. I don't know for sure. Well, that's really what I have to talk about there in regards to the channel. Otherwise, it's been a fairly slow week. Statistics, in terms of views, subscribers, are looking better than the week before, but it fluctuates. Pay no attention to short-term trends. Long-term ones are the ones that are important. Finally, I provide you with a report and update regarding the VORW radio show, and after that the fan mail segment will begin. The VORW program can be heard internationally via shortwave stations each and every Thursday. I can be heard on 3 frequencies, or 3 times each Thursday, at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. GMT. I can be heard on 6070 kilohertz to Europe at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. I can be heard on 6070 kilohertz again to Europe, and at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. GMT, I can be heard on 7490 kilohertz to North America. Last week's program was very well received and was a great success. I received around 45 emails in response to the program, which is great listener correspondence. The shortwave broadcasts were well received, especially the 1 p.m. GMT broadcast to Europe. Shortwave coverage was exceptional at the time, and it was heard by listeners on their shortwave radios in Poland, also heard by listeners in Italy, Germany, the UK, Ireland, and is also heard as far away as Japan by 2 separate shortwave listeners. So that's excellent news there. The broadcast at that time appears to have the strongest signals on shortwave of the 3. So that's great. That broadcast will definitely continue in the future to Europe. I'm thinking about changing the time or eliminating the 8 p.m. broadcast to Europe, GMT, because coverage of that transmission is a lot more sporadic. And while it's kind of fun to me to see where it'll pop up, it is not efficient in terms of reaching an audience. So that broadcast may either be eliminated or it may be moved earlier in the day in order to propagate better. The broadcast at 8 p.m. Eastern to North America still remains the most listened to of the 3 transmissions, therefore remains the flagship broadcast, you can say, and will continue on for the foreseeable future as well. If you're interested in what the program is exactly that you can hear on shortwave, how you can listen to it, I will cover both of those now, as I do in each program. The VORW program that you hear on shortwave, thanks to much looser restrictions than what is here on YouTube, it is a different program, and it's a huge difference from what you're used to hearing with my VORWs on YouTube. The program heard every week on shortwave is 1 hour in length. It's repeated 3 times throughout the day, so listeners at all times can hopefully be able to give it a listen. It is a variety program which features a mixture of my commentary as well as music. And the thing that a lot of people enjoy is the fact that the music in this program is all request. Now, there are some circumstances where I might pick out one song, but almost every single song that I play in the broadcast is requested by the listeners. So you hear an extremely diverse mixture of music from all ages, all genres, and you'll hear songs that you never expected that you'd hear, either played in succession or just heard in general. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to hear a music program with extreme variety, with the good old review bra as the host, perhaps you might be interested in giving the VORW program a listen. There are several ways which you can hear these broadcasts. The first, of course, and most simply, is via shortwave directly. If you own a shortwave radio, you can tune in at the appointed times with your receiver and hopefully be able to pick up the signal. If the signal isn't received well at first, you can consider the several options. Number one, make sure that the built-in antenna on your radio is fully extended. Number two, consider placing the radio near a window. Number three, if it's warm enough and if you feel comfortable doing so, consider listening outside for exceptional reception, hopefully. And number four, if you have an additional antenna, such as a long wire antenna, you can use that to hopefully better reception. Or you can go the poor man's way by getting some tin foil and wrapping it around the antenna. That'll actually help a little bit. But not all of us own radios. Not all of us want to spend the money on radios. And not all of us really want to go through all the technicalities that come with radios. That's understandable. And there are plenty of other ways to listen as well. If you want to listen to the broadcasts to Europe, and I'll say this again, there is transmissions which are heard each Thursday to Europe at 8 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. GMT, and 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. I highly recommend you listen to the first one at 1 p.m. GMT. I highly recommend it because that is when the signal is at the best. That's when the signal is at its strongest. You're guaranteed to hear the transmission. If you're thinking about listening to those broadcasts, I highly recommend listening to that first one. The signal there is the best. The second one is a hit or miss game. You might hear it. It might just blast over the target area and be heard somewhere hundreds of miles away, and it won't be picked up. I cannot guarantee reception of it. That's why I'm saying I'm probably going to change the time of that after next week. But I highly recommend listening to that first one at 1 p.m. GMT. It's 1300 UTC. Okay. Well, how can I listen, since you're saying that it's, that it's the one that should be listened to? Simply go to the website, channel292.de. You'll see on the left there's a link. Click here to listen live on shortwave. Go to this website about 5 minutes before the broadcast is to air. Click on that link, and it will automatically bring you to an online shortwave radio. It will tune it for you, and you're good to go. You just need to click that link. It'll do all the work, and you're set. That's how easy it is. If you want to listen, and if you're interested in staying up for it, if you're in Europe, if you want to hear the broadcast to North America, it's the same show, but you have more varied ways to listen. You can listen to the broadcast to North America via one of three means. You can listen via tune-in radio, which a lot of people say is good. The audio quality is good. It's digital audio. It can be heard on your computer, or on your phone as well. They have an app, too, that you can listen on, so don't feel limited. Simply type into Google WBCQ TuneIn. The top link there that I have circled is just for you. You click on it about 3-4 minutes before the broadcast airs. So say 7:56 p.m. Eastern, 12:55 p.m. GMT, or AM I should say. And you're good to go there. You can listen via a live web stream on WBCQ.com. Go to WBCQ.com. There's a link there on the left, listen live. Click on that. And then there's that top link there that I have circled in the image for 7490. Click on that. You'll download a Shoutcast MP3 stream. And you're good to go there too. Digital audio quality. You know, FM radio quality, it's fine. Or if you want to listen via an online shortwave receiver, I have posted here all of these links which you can listen via. Simply click on any of those of your choice. You'll see then, looks like this here in this picture. Type in the box that I have circled, 7490, hit enter. Click on that second box there, it says AM. Click on that, and you're good to go there. For more information on how to listen, please consult my video, How to Listen to the VORW Show on Shortwave. I'm going to link that video probably in the comments for every couple videos just to promote the program. It's my shortwave show, and I want to, if people are interested in listening, I want to make sure they can listen, you know? I got to spread the word too. There might be people out there that really want to listen and they have no idea what this show is and they've never heard of it, and they'll never know. So I want to just make sure the word gets spread. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is the fan mail segment where I read and respond to your listener letters. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. And here we go. Here's the letters. People finally get to hear their letters read after complaining so much that I didn't get it out in an exact week's time. Sometimes I think some people just write in just for me to hear their name uttered or something, but that's one reason why I made the writing in voluntary only, and I can't make that guarantee that your letter is going to get read, because some people write in, I think, under false pretense. They write in claiming to have nice things to say, when in reality they just want to hear their name spoken, or, you know, have their name publicly acknowledged or something, and that's sad, and I think it's, I don't know. You can tell when that happens, when some people, all they want is to hear their letter read. They don't listen to the rest of the show, and they get pissed off when either A, I omit their letter due to the established quota, B, the show isn't produced quickly enough, or C, I accidentally missed their letter. It's a shame, but that's not the majority, you know. I speak not regarding the majority, but rather about a small but a very vocal minority. So, anyway. Well, you know, oftentimes all it takes is just a small minority of people to ruin something for everyone else. But I'm not going to let that happen this time around. Just like that one hair that I found in the Wendy's meal earlier. We're going to forget about it, and we're just going to read letters. Okay? Read some good letters from good people. Okay? So our first letter comes from Liam. He writes, "Hello. Sorry for not writing for quite some time. I don't know if you remember, but I wrote in just over a month ago for Christmas saying I was traveling around Japan. Unfortunately, that month went far too quickly, and now I'm back home behind a computer. I'm currently catching up on the VORW shows that I missed, so I'm not too up to date with the show at the moment. My time in Japan was nothing more than amazing. I stayed in Tokyo, Takayama, Kyoto, Hiroshima, Osaka, and several other cities as well. It was tough to choose, but Kyoto was probably my favorite prefecture. The people were so lovely and respectful, and the food was amazing. I didn't eat a single bad meal. I noticed there are a lot more burger fast food joints all over Japan, some being McDonald's, Freshness Burger, and Moss Burger. The McDonald's was surprisingly tasty, and it was hard to believe, but the eggs that they used in their breakfast menu were actually real eggs. They tasted like real eggs, not plastic at all. Now, of course, there was a large focus on curry houses and udon slash soba meals, that's thick slash thin noodles, but I can't say more than all the food was delicious. I'm struggling to fit in a whole month's worth of experiences in an email, so I will list a few great features. Cycling anywhere in Kyoto is amazing. It's a city similar to Amsterdam, as in more people ride than drive. The streets are so flat and accessible that it is great riding from shrine to shrine. Denden Town in Osaka is a great location for traveling through old video game and anime culture. You can walk from store to store finding hidden gems often. Takayama is a very old but beautiful town. There's a great mountain that you can hike up featuring old castle ruins on the top. The snow there was amazing, though very cold. And finally, Beppu is the town known across Japan for its hot spring and bath culture. It features many traditional Japanese bathhouses and onsens as hot springs. I have to say, I have never been cleaner in my life. Thanks for listening to my prattle about Japan. If you do get the chance, though, if only for a week, I highly recommend visiting. I have attached some pictures that I took, and feel free to use them in the VORW if you like, or just for your viewing pleasure. I will now proceed to catch up on all the VORW that I have missed. As always, keep up the good work from Liam. Liam, thank you. And I will share a few of your pictures that you took on your voyage to Japan in this program. And it was wonderful to hear about that. It sounds like you had a fun time, a fun experience, and just overall a good time. If I ever get the chance, and I've thought about it, I will visit Japan. I have one question for you, as a matter of fact, Liam. How is the language barrier in Japan? You know, can you get around the cities knowing only English, per se? Or do you need to have at least some bilingual abilities in order to efficiently communicate? So that's what I'm curious about, and if you are listening and you want to get back, I'll be pleased to hear back. It's up to you, though. And thank you again for your letter, and thanks for the pictures, too. Very nice. Thank you. Next letter, from a regular writer. Hello again, Report of the Week. I really liked your video of you at the beach. It was cool to see something new, and I'd previously asked you about visiting the ocean, so it was especially cool to see. I have a question for you, kind of related to the subject of the beach and the ocean. I've been thinking about the idea of trying to relocate somewhere in the U.S., and I was thinking of Florida. Since you've said that that's where you're currently located, I was wondering if you have any thoughts or opinions on what it's like living there. Do you like it? Pros, cons? Any recommendations on specific cities or areas? Thanks. Well, thank you. I could gladly... Florida is a very diverse state, and there's some interesting sections, and it comes into what you're looking for. Because these parts of the state are, I mean, very, very different. If you prefer, you know, say, country living, you're a conservative person politically and socially, you'll fit in best in northern Florida and the Florida Panhandle area. You can think of it as kind of, it's like Alabama, Mississippi, kind of like that. And there's places over there, such as Tallahassee. There's also, of course, the city of Jacksonville, Florida, northern Florida, and feels probably more like the South than what other parts of Florida would feel like. So if you're interested in that, I recommend northern Florida and the Panhandle. Keep in mind, despite it being Florida, it'll still get fairly cold in the winter in those parts. So keep that in mind. Next, of course, is Central Florida, which is now on the actual peninsula. That's probably a very well-known part of the state. The weather climate there is a bit more mild. Most days, year-round, it'll at least be in the 70s. It'll get warmer at times. It could still dip down into the 40s at night during the winter, so you can still get some cold air as well. Of course, most well-known in Central Florida are the cities of Orlando and Tampa. Orlando is mostly big for the tourist reasons, granted. Of course, it's the home of Disney, the home of Universal, also good old SeaWorld, and lots of tourist type attractions, so you're never at a loss of kind of fun things to do in Orlando. Keep that in mind. But just like any other city, it has its good and bad neighborhoods, and living in one of the good areas costs a pretty penny. You can find yourself paying, you know, to live in a decent place, you'll find yourself paying well over $1,000 a month just on rent alone, plus all the utilities, expenses, etc. You could find yourself blowing $2,000 a month just to live in a good place in Orlando. Keep that in mind. It could be a little expensive. Tampa itself is a nice city too. It's more, it's less touristy than Orlando. It's more just like a standard city. Well, people have said that it's a city that's expanding. Apparently good job growth there, and people have said good things about it. Again, keep in mind, just living in one of the good areas in that city will cost you a little bit. Otherwise, if you want to live near the beach, there's plenty of coastal areas where you could live as well. There's, I mean, you have a lot to choose from. There's, of course, a little bit more to the north, there's Daytona Beach, there's St. Augustine. If you keep going down, you'll have Cocoa Beach. You keep going down from there, you know, you'll have eventually Vero Beach, I believe. There's Port St. Lucie, Palm Bay, lots of areas on the east coast of Florida. Very pristine beaches, beautiful, warm, and if you like the ocean, you like the water, I highly recommend checking any of those towns there. It's a little bit cheaper to live there than it is in the cities, for obvious reasons, so that might be something to looking into. And then, of course, there's South Florida, Miami, of course, and the Florida Keys. Though people say Miami isn't a nice place. You know, keep that in mind. It depends on what you're looking for. If you want to live in a very, very big, bustling city with all the pros and cons, you can consider Miami. But I think if you still want some of that bustle, but you want also a chance to be able to kind of relax a little bit, you know, I'd recommend looking perhaps at one of the coastal areas. At the same time, if you're looking more for a city but not as hectic as Miami, then of course Orlando, Tampa would recommend. And if you're still looking for a city, but if you're looking for something more conservative and similar to the South, for instance, then I recommend Jacksonville or even Tallahassee. With that being said, I hope that was of some help and assistance to you, and I wish you the best of luck in terms of finding a place if you're interested in living here. As I said, has its pros, has its cons, but that's my little rundown of the state. On to the next. Hello, Review Bra. This is my first time writing in, and I hope my question doesn't come across as invasive or offensive. You mentioned in previous VORWs that due to your commitment to food reviews, you eat fast food most days. I'm curious how you maintain your lean figure and keep clear skin on such a diet. Do you exercise regularly, counteract the grease with a secretive off-screen level 5 vegan diet, or are you, like me, blessed with a high metabolism? All the best from a UK listener/viewer. Well, thank you for your question. Well, what I do is, number one, I eat 1 meal per day. I eat 1 meal per day usually, and that's it. I try to do some walking around as well. Try and stay somewhat active. And in terms of the skin, keeping that clear, I do my face every night. It's not like one of those, makeup people, but I wash my face every night. I use a cleansing facial soap. First I'll splash some water on my face, and I'll put a small amount of the facial soap, rub it in on my face. Then I dab some more of that soap on a cleansing brush, exfoliate the face, rinse it off with some water, pat dry, and then put a small amount of moisturizer on my face, and usually that's good, and that works. That works out pretty well. There was a time in mid-2015 when my face it got bad. Lots of acne. The camera I was using wasn't really HD, but you could still see the bumps and everything on it, especially when I filmed in public at the time, and you can see it's much different than now. And at that point, I tried everything. I went to a dermatologist, and I got a prescription for doxycycline. That's what it's called, doxycycline. And I took that, and that got rid of it. And then that's gone. I haven't taken the pills in months now, and can't afford to see a doctor anyways, so that's where that stands. But I take care of my face. I do that every night, and it seems to be holding up well. It's not something I talk about much, but you asked, and I answered. So that's what I have for you there. I hope that your question was answered to your liking. Good day, Review Bra. Would be awesome if you made an appearance on Shia LaBeouf's installation at the Museum of the Moving Image, Astoria. Yes, He Will Not Divide Us, that's what it's called. I watched a stream for a while. Given my location, that's not an easy feat at this point in time. But if I ever find myself in the New York area, I'm going to go there. I've decided, I made a decision. If I find myself in the New York area, I'm going to show up to the He Will Not Divide Us stream and be there for a while. I'll do it. I'll be there. I can't say when I'll be there. I don't know. But that's where that stands. People next door having, I think, some Super Bowl party or something. What else do we have going on here? Let's see. Alright, here's our next letter. Dear Review Bra, every time I scroll down in the comments of your videos, I find over-exaggerated comments of people thinking your style and mannerisms are just over-the-top hilarious. I think the judgment they pass upon you is just because you wear suits is ridiculous. It's not as if suits make you an entirely different species, as if you've evolved and have fabric for skin. It's just your preference. However, I do have to agree that your sarcasm and humor make me laugh out loud. But I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you, and it's an important distinction to make. On a video you commented back to me, and thought I was poking fun, I guess. You can't really tell what someone's tone sounds like through a comment, but I think you just took it as me being another idiotic troll. I'm sorry about that, and honestly, I don't know how you deal with the trolls. You get countless letters and VORWs of someone expressing how grateful they are for your real personality and how refreshing it is, but it really is something I'm grateful for, and I wish I could find in a real-life friend. I hope to meet you someday, and it's on my bucket list. I'm also learning how to listen to shortwave. And just a suggestion, can you review more Mexican food? I'd be interested to see what you think of authentic Mexican food. Godspeed from Mariah. Well, thank you, Mariah. Thank you for your words, though I will say, given the comments that you were leaving on the videos, that makes me question the authenticity of what you actually had to say there. Going ahead and repeatedly calling me a liar for not getting the VORW up at the time you wanted to get it up at, just so you could hear the letter. But maybe that was just me misinterpreting the tone of it, perhaps. And in terms of reviewing more authentic Mexican food, would it be... There's definitely some places I can try. There's one establishment, I think it's the only one nearby. It's called Del Taco. I know it's Americanized still, but it would be something interesting to try out. And, of course, most authentic Mexican food comes from more local establishments, and I try to review national chains, but if I can find something that has that authenticity, that's either renowned or available nationally or to a large number of people, I'll go out of my way to try and find that. Thank you. Our next letter. Here we go. Hey John, how are things in your neck of the woods? I've had a rough go of it lately. The owner of the place I work at sold the company last week, and it's been very stressful on me. I don't feel like I'm a good match with the new company, and I wish I could have just quit and do my own thing. I worked there for 8 years, and it would have been a dream to somehow work for myself, much like you do, and do not have to answer to anyone else. I'm a loner by nature, and I wish I could think of something to do. Next week when I write in, maybe I'll have better news. In the meantime, I'll persist onward as a slave to the grind. Take care, my friend, your old pal, Brack. So thank you for that, and I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry about that. I know it's never a fun feeling, and I wish you... I wish you all the best, I really do, and I mean it. I hope things work out on that front. I hope you can find your way and find a place that's a good fit, and, wish you good luck. I mean, you're a good person, and if I had money to throw around financially, I'd easily throw something your way and help you out, but I'm not in the best financial situation, myself, but I really wish you the best in your situation, and I really do hope things get better soon. Our next letter comes here. Hi, this isn't a business inquiry. I just wanted to write and tell you that all my friends and I love your videos. You're such an interesting, intelligent, and well-spoken person. We have so much fun watching your videos and genuinely get a lot out of them. We eat a lot of fast food, so it's good to know what we're investing in. Thank you so much for presenting the information in such a fun and easy to understand way. You rock, stay cool, we support you. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm glad you enjoy the food reviews and enjoy watching them. Thank you for that. Next, here we go. Hello. For the reason that I cannot find an email sent for this picture, I believe that I either lost the email or simply didn't send it at all, so I'm resending it here. Well, thank you. If you've not received this before, that is a clue that I never did send it. I never got it before, so there was an error in sending it. I'm not much of an artist, but I've done my best. Here's a work of fan art for you. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the drawing. It's duly appreciated, and I'm going to feature it in this program, so thank you. Speaking of fan art, another piece actually comes in after this one. Hey, Review Bra, I made this embroidered piece as a gift for a friend who's obsessed with your channel. Then I realized it's basically fan art, and I wanted you to see it, so here it is. Well, thank you very much for that, and there it is, the fan art. Very nice, thank you for all the effort that you put into that, and again, this too has been featured in the program, so thank you very much for that. And to anyone who makes fan art, I hope you know that I really do appreciate all the time and effort that you put into your work. I mean it, I appreciate it. I'm not a talented artist at all. I can't draw anything above an abstract. That's it. So to those of you who are able to do the work, draw something, embroider something, whatever it may be, paint something, or anything in between, I hope you know how much I appreciate your creativity and artistic ability, because I mean it. Okay, what other letters do we have here? Hello, John. I'm currently listening to your latest VORW show while writing. As I have the last few times, I've decided writing in for every show will be my New Year's resolution, because I've been doing so since December. This has been the only time I get a chance to write an actual email to another person, so I take advantage of it. It'll be interesting to hear the analytics from this show, seeing how it didn't show up in many people's subscription box, including mine. Anyway, I finally thought of a topic to ask about. What do you think of the tiny house movement and the minimalist lifestyle? I can see you as a minimalist, just happy with a closet for your suits and radio in hand. Well, thank you. And some pictures were included of the tiny houses. I've known of the tiny house movement. I actually watched a documentary about it back in 2012. Because my Canadian friend at the time, he sent me a link to a documentary about the Canadian, or not the Canadian, but just the tiny house movement. And I watched it, and then kind of forgot about it, but I brought it back. I think it's good for certain people, you know. I don't need a mansion. I don't want a mansion. I don't need a gigantic yard. I just need something small, you know. Could be small apartment, small condo, small house, you know. I don't need 4 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, you know, this and that. I was watching some show the other night on TLC. I think it was TLC. And it was one of those interior design shows, you know, where you get your stereotypical couple that miraculously has $800,000 on hand to spend on a new house, right? And they go to some perfectly fine, acceptable looking house. Oh my god, the floor looks so old. Oh, I don't like how this wall looks. I don't like the color of the fireplace. I don't like this. I don't like that this light isn't a few feet closer, you know. So many requests and particulars, everything. I mean, if I went into that house, I saw it, I'd think, wow, this place is awesome. You know, this is a great house. Doesn't bother me at all. I don't care if it's dated or not. Doesn't bother me. So, obviously, those kinds of people would not like the little tiny house movement. They wouldn't like that at all. But I myself, I wouldn't care. As I said, as long as there's enough room for the suits and to be a little comfortable, I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me. Probably saves some money, too. Our last letter, here in this inbox. Hello. I'm just a lady who likes your videos, especially the VORW ones. They just really relax me and help me face the day. I just wanted to say thank you. Never stop doing what you're doing. Well, thank you for that. And it's my pleasure that the programs are able to help you relax and face any trials and challenges which may lie ahead. So thank you for that. Let's check out if we have any other letters to be read here. So excuse me for one moment. Okay, we're back here. Dear Reviewer, first, thank you for responding to my previous electronic correspondence. At the beginning of VORW number 139, you talk about how people might be bored or overwhelmed by your video uploading schedule. And I will say that initially, I dismissed your review series as being another thing people on the internet liked. But then I heard your shortwave program and decided that there was something there, which led me to watching your reviews as they came up, the Idle Minds, the VORW podcast, etc. It's quality content, even though I probably don't go get the new stuff you usually review in the Running on Empty series. I usually just stick to, regular hamburger / cheeseburger. Regarding the thumbnail topic, I never really care about that anyway. I do enjoy your choices of fan art to play during the YouTube audio of the VORW, however. You state that you think shortwave will be dead once CRI, the VOA, and the BBC are gone. The BBC doesn't care about North America for shortwave. The VOA has been a former shell of itself for a while now, and the CRI is, well, CRI. As for your talk about soft power, the DPRK has a bunch of shortwave transmissions, though no one really thinks the DPRK is a superpower, except the DPRK. To interject, what I really meant was on a global level. Of course, in the US, shortwave is already dismal as it is. As a matter of fact, actually I'll get to this later, I'm mostly talking on a worldwide level, If you use the WebSDR receiver, the one in the University of Twente in the Netherlands, which has an excellent antenna and is in more of a central location, so you can hear broadcasts from North America, from Asia to Africa, etc. You can hear a lot of broadcasts on it. You'll see that you can hear a lot more signals on that one than over here in the States. So you can hear tons of signals from China, China Radio International, China National Radio. You can hear dozens and dozens of VOA frequencies, dozens of BBC frequencies, etc. So I was kind of talking on a global level. Once those three are gone, there's going to be so much empty space left on the shortwave bands that it'll look kind of like how it does in North America all over the world. And in terms of soft power, I think it also just comes down to common sense, how people look at these stations, China Radio does a good job with their programming. They make their programs semi-realistic and listenable, They make it as a varied talk program, contemporized, if you will. But it's something that if you're tuning around on the shortwave and, Brother Stare, we just hear Brother Stare and some other preacher that kind of sounds like Brother Stare. And there's some more Brother Stare. And there's Alex Jones, but I'm just not feeling like listening to Alex Jones today. And, hey, what's this? This sounds like a talk show. They're talking about news, current events. This sounds pretty interesting. I'm going to tune them in. What is this? From China? China Radio. It's interesting, The way they do their programs makes them listenable. I mean, the other night I was listening to CRI on the shortwave. I know their news is given to fit a certain perspective, but it still could be entertaining listening when there isn't much else to listen to. The DPRK, their audio quality isn't good, and it's unrealistic. It's just silly, and I think any listener around the world will see that. These people just playing this outdated communist marching music and talking about how great this leader is for 45 minutes every day. They kind of laugh at it. Whereas China, in terms of shortwave broadcasting, I think they're more in touch and kind of know what they're doing there. Plus, the one good strategy I like that China has, and this is how I would manage a shortwave station if I had a blank check like they do, is they broadcast in languages that no other station broadcasts in, They still broadcast in all these languages, Croatian, Serbian, Albanian, Hungarian, Polish, you know, Belarusian, you name it, where there aren't any other stations targeting these populations on shortwave, China swoops in, and even though they may not get a huge listening audience, they still have people tuned in there because this is all that they have to listen to. So that's what I was meaning there. It's a means of soft power. How effective it is, I don't know, but, you know, they try it. The letter continues. If you've read BBG Watch, you'll know that the Broadcasting Board of Governors is mostly pointless and useless. Too bad Alan Wiener isn't Trump's pick for a new singular CEO. Yeah, Alan Wiener would do a good job. He's the manager of WBCQ, and he's a firm believer of shortwave, and he's a guy that realizes its potential. He would make a good manager, Alan Wiener. Good guy. It seems like most of your show this week is fan mail. Not complaining. How much mail do you typically get for a VORW podcast? I get it, I get about 20 to 30 letters, and I try to read as much as I can, but writing in is voluntary, and, you know, I can't promise that I'll read every letter, but some people don't seem to get that message. And, but it goes over well. Most people are fine, and it's always a fun experience reading the letters, and I get to talk about things that I never would get the chance to talk about otherwise. While reading my letter, you brought up that while listening to the NYPD on your police scanner, you found Narrowcast FM links from TV studios on it. Sounds like that would actually be more interesting than the police. There are periodic reports in the DX Listening Digest about people receiving a form of FMDX on it, since it would be transmitted in FM. I presume the station that you can't think of the name of to Cuba is Radio Republica, which is also the reason why Arnie at RHC jams WRMI. Yeah, that is the station. That's heard. And it comes in great here. Comes in great. One interesting thing to note about the broadcast to Cuba, I've gotten in a habit of listening on the weekends to the broadcasts at Radio Marti. You know, I've gotten into a habit of listening to them. But what I was saying about Radio Marti, I've gotten into the habit nowadays of listening to Radio Marti's broadcasts to Cuba every night. Their music shows, since music is a universal language, I'll listen to those. And most interesting is how strong the signal of Radio Marti is down here. Since I'm essentially just above the target area, you can see right here on my radio how it's coming in. Very, very good signals, very clear, you know, crisp and loud. And locations more northernly, say in New York, say in the Midwest, you mostly hear the Cuban jamming, you don't hear the broadcast of Radio Marti. So it makes me wonder how effective Cuba's jamming of the transmission actually is. Since I'm close enough to Cuba as it is, I don't know if the jamming, if I'm just in a skip zone, if the jamming in Cuba, well, actually reaches Cuba, or if it just skips over the island and hits the U.S. instead and jams Radio Marti in New York and in the Midwest, whereas listeners in Cuba could hear the broadcast as clearly. I don't know. I mean, I figure if they use a non-directional signal for the jammers, that's the most smart thing to do. That'll do a good job, but, I mean, here I am with the broadcast of Radio Marti at exceptional quality. I'll put the radio down on the table indoors, not even extend the telescopic antenna, and the signal will be coming in 5 by 5, you know, it's excellent. So, I don't know. Makes me wonder about how effectual their jamming of the broadcast actually is. But no matter what, their music programs are good, and it's weekend entertainment for me on the shortwave. To finish off the letter, I remember back in the day, Cartoon Network was a lot better. It's not just me being an old coot, that's why. TV tropes has a whole page about a subject that I like to read from time to time called Network Decay. As for cartoons, I'm one of those people who likes My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, but I'm not someone that actually, does the dirty to MLP. Modernish cartoons I enjoy. In case you're looking for stuff to watch, The Regular Show and Adventure Time are pretty good. I've been told that Steven Universe is good, but I've never watched any episodes of that for myself. I can tell you right now that thrift shopping is discouraged by society because it's not buying new stuff and keeping the economy going by importing stuff made by slave labor in third world countries, which is what the modern neoliberal, neo-colonial state is based upon. Thrifting is cheaper, easier, and not very hard to do. I'll be honest, I closed the tab on VORW when you get to the YouTube analytics. I've listened to nearly all the program except for that. Thank you for reading this. Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for that. So let's see. Good points that you brought up in the letter, and good shortwave talk as well. We have one last letter to read here, then we'll jump into the YouTube inbox, which I think I don't know if I got a single letter on YouTube this week. Maybe I got one or two. And then we'll close it up. This listener was in Sydney, Australia, and listened to the shortwave broadcast on 6070. Wrote a few comments about the program, and then said, here was a message I was going to send you for the online VORW, but I never got around to finishing it. Greetings, Review Bra. I've not written into the VORW before, since having started watching your videos some weeks ago. I instantly grew attached to your ingenious charm and sense of humor, and I've been addicted to your videos since. I thought I might describe to you a cultural fast food comestible that's available in Australia, called Halal Snack Pack. It takes influence from Turkish and Middle Eastern cuisine, and I was wondering if you've experienced Middle Eastern cuisine in the US. If you haven't, perhaps you might be interested in a snack pack. Well, I never got around to saying what the HSP was, so I'll do that now. Basically, it's a styrofoam container that has its base layered with fries, or chips, lightly coated in chicken salt. Placed on top of this, the customer can choose either beef, lamb, or mixed meat. The meat is cooked on a vertical rotisserie called a sheesh, then it's shaved off the sheesh onto a metal base plate, collected and served on top of the fries, typically served with a sauce topping. This is essential for a traditional flavor. I usually go with chili and garlic to cut through the oily nature of the dish. Well, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks for everything you do, Review Bra, and keep it up. Sincerely, Nathan from Sydney, Australia. Well, thank you, Nathan. Thank you for writing, and thank you for listening to the shortwave broadcast, by the way. I hope you enjoyed the program. That sounds interesting, I haven't had much food from that region, but that sounds pretty good, actually. I'd be willing to try it out. I'd be happy to try that out. If I ever get my hands on it one day, I'll give it a go, right? I'll give it a go. And, as I said, you never know, but it sounds pretty good. It does. It sounds pretty good. Well, coming up next, we're going to see if we have any letters in YouTube, and then we're going to be done. And that's it. I'm going to briefly pause the recorder, check to see what there is in the lineup, and we'll go from there. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Okay. There's just 2 letters in the YouTube inbox, isn't it? For those of you who've listened to the VORW for a long time, isn't it crazy to see how it's just died out? I mean, I don't know if any of you have been listening since 2014 or so, but the YouTube inbox used to be the place that was hopping. That's where I used to get so many letters, and now it's all email. I think it's easier that way. There's more you can do with email, but the YouTube inbox has come and gone, it seems, and it's lost its place for sure as the primary means of letters. Now we're all about that email life, you know. As I say, hello, sir. Thank you for reading my last message. I'm glad you didn't think it was a troll message or something meant to be offensive like that, since I know that you've said that people have compared you to the American Psycho guy, probably in a condescending way. And that's cool that you enjoyed the film. Did a great rendition of the quote. Have you read the book too? I recently read it, which is partly why I was sending that message. I think you could greatly enjoy the book, especially if you like the film. And one reason why I think you might enjoy the book more is that literally at least half the entire book is Patrick Bateman talking in great detail about his clothing and the clothing other people are wearing. And of course, you know the clothing described is from an era that you have a fondness for, so I think that you'd dig it. Can't remember how many dozens, maybe hundreds of times that 6x1 double-breasted suits are mentioned. There are a few very graphically violent scenes in the book, just so you're aware, but overall, highly recommend it to you. And besides all the fashion-related content, which you'd probably be interested in, it's a great satirical dark comedy novel, and now that you think of it, you never answered my last two questions. Do you like Huey Lewis and the News and Phil Collins? Well, I do, actually. They're great groups, actually, and both of them great 80s groups. I'll listen to their songs from time to time, and they're legitimately good. All jokes aside, they're good music too. And I haven't read the book, but hearing what you had to say about it kind of makes me want to pick it up and take a look at it, so thank you for that. On our last letter, greetings, Report of the Week. I feel a little silly continuing to message you on YouTube since nearly everyone emails you now, but it's out of habit, I suppose. Just wanted to follow up on something I came across in this past VORW. I personally enjoy as many uploads as you can make. I don't get tired of them and get overwhelmed or anything. The more the merrier, I think. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, and I'm glad to hear your feedback and insight about that. And, as I said, thank you for that. Coming up next, we'll check out the statistics for VORW number 139, and then we'll wrap up this show. Okay? Last week's program was viewed by 7,000 individuals, despite no notification being sent out. We will check audience retention in a moment. There were, because no notification was sent out, no subscribers were lost as a result, and 13 subscribers were gained from the show overall. So it's a great success. In terms of view duration, another success as well, mostly because we eliminated all of the people that would be getting the notification needlessly and would be going there only to click away seconds later. So really the people that came to this one were people that were just interested in the program itself. So most interestingly enough now, the retention rate was a bit higher, and you'll see right here. Still, however, and these are the people, mind you, that went out of their way since no notification was given. They went to the channel to find this VORW and to listen to it. By 1 minute and 22 seconds, only 37% were still watching. However, by 6 minutes, 27% of people were tuned in. By 24 minutes, 22% were tuned in. By 56 minutes, 20% were tuned in. By an hour and 30 minutes, 17% were tuned in. By 2 hours and 11 minutes, 15% were tuned in. And by 2 hours and 15 minutes, 13% were tuned in. So, stayed around 15%, listened to the entire thing through all the way, and that shows you, obviously, that because there was no notification sent out, more people came in that genuinely listened to the program, not to just click on it and then click away after wondering what the hell they clicked on. So that's good news in terms of statistics and numbers, but it also provides its issues in terms of, going and convenience-wise. You'd have to hunt for it, and that can be an issue, of course. Well, let's see this now. The most loyal countries, you can say, in terms of view duration, came from, or this time around, were Latvia. Latvia, the listeners there listened to the entire thing, the entire show. Congratulations there. After that was Bangladesh, listened to the show in its entirety. Jersey, of course, strikes again as third place, and the U.S. Virgin Islands comes in fourth place, with France coming in fifth with an average view duration of 46 minutes. If you're curious, the United States average view duration is 25 minutes, the UK 22 minutes. If you're wondering what the lowest view durations come out of this time around, Luxembourg with a total of 6 seconds, Bosnia and Herzegovina 8 seconds, Kazakhstan 10 seconds, Slovenia 12 seconds, and Malaysia and Bulgaria collectively at 12 seconds as well. That concludes this program, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. If you'd like to write in for the next program, writing in is voluntary, and keep that in mind. I cannot promise that your letter will be read or responded to, but if you still want to give it a try, go for it. You can contact this program in one of 3 ways. You can email me at vorwinfo@gmail.com or repweekinterview1@gmail.com. You can also contact me via YouTube, via the YouTube messaging system. Programs will be produced every 1 to 2 weeks. There is no fit schedule, so do not expect a program to be made in a certain time. It'll come when it comes, but again, usually within 1 to 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. This is VORW number 149 concluded.